Just allow the seat to fully support your weight. Focus on the breath. There's really no need to change it in any way. Just notice how it works. Breathing in, you are filled. And breathing out, just naturally relax. Breathing in, you're filled with life. And breathing out, you relax into love. At peace, in love. Say to yourself, I am forgiving. I am forgiving. Forgiveness ends all suffering and loss. Seems impossible sometimes. Seems like some wishful thought. Forgiveness ends all suffering and loss. But right now, just allow forgiveness to paint a new picture of the world. To see that blank canvas in your mind. You are the artist. Begin to paint. To paint a picture of the world where suffering is over. A place where loss becomes impossible and anger makes no sense. In your new picture, attack is gone. Madness has come to an end. And as you consider it, you see that suffering is now inconceivable. And what loss can be sustained in this world? This world that has become a place of joy and abundance, and charity, and endless giving. It is now so like to heaven that it quickly is transformed into the light that it reflects. So all of those wonderful colors in your painting swirl together to become the white light of Christ. This is the journey that the Son of God began, and it ends in this light from which he came. And so we pray, Father, Mother, we would return our minds to you. We have betrayed them, held them in a vice of bitterness and frightened them with thoughts of violence and death. Now would we rest again in you, as you created us. We say amen and amen. Too much? Too optimistic? The Course in Miracles says that is, all we have to do is accept that truth and it's ours. It's already ours, we're just, the only reason we're not experiencing it is because we're not accepting it. So this, so if Priscilla was changing the sign, if maybe somebody might have got her before it was finished. But what we try to do, if you probably already know this, we try to make the sign make sense from both directions. But if you just, a lot of times you just see one side and don't see the other, you're kind of, might be puzzled what's happening. But, so on this side, facing this way, it says equal. On the other side, it says we are. Equal we are, as Yoda would say. So that's the value. This is the value. The value is equal. The value of each and every one of us is equal. Generally speaking, that is not the evidence of the world. That we see all kinds of stratification. We see all sorts of different levels. Some that have to do with accomplishment, some that have to do with levels of education, some that are very much attached to economic status, titles, awards, and that's all well and good. And you know, I've got some stuff about that in the lessons for the coming week. But what I want to present this morning is this idea that that in spirit, in the light that was described in the meditation, in that white light of Christ, all are equal. And in our relationships, it might be a good idea, it might be somewhat helpful if we try to move in that direction in our own thinking. So we say in the Narcotics Anonymous literature, in the fourth step, it says, in the fourth step is about taking an inventory, looking deeply at who we are. It kind of describes this thing that happens if we take a good inventory. When we take a good inventory, we find that at our core, in other words, if we look at ourselves very deeply and without all of the burdens of the past, we see that we are pure and loving spirit. I remember when I first read that line, I was thinking, wow, you know, that's, for most of us, it is a stretch to think about that, because we carry the baggage of our own regrets. We carry all the burden of our various resentments. And so it's difficult to see. Most of the time, we are judging ourselves either as more than others or as less than others. And it's not just all the time totally blatant. It's just these random thoughts of comparison that continue to go on. And as we practice, we're going to get better at not putting our minds in that position. Through practice, and this is the idea, right? This is the reason we practice, is to get better at it. The reason that we do these things is to come to, I hope that the reason is to come to peace of mind. If the reason that we practice these spiritual disciplines is so that other people see us practicing spiritual discipline, what Jesus said, that's your reward then. Your reward is they saw you. So what? If you pray loudly on the street corner, people hear you. That is your reward. Somebody heard you. But the deeper rewards are missed, because what we're looking for is approval and affection and some kind of recognition. I just really like this idea of if I could just get my mind centered on this idea of I want to be helpful, I want to give service, I want to do the right thing because it's the right thing. Not because somebody says, oh, you know what, he's really a nice guy. You know what I say about that? I'm wearing the saying out. People would just act right. I could be really a nice guy. But no, this is not the reason for the behavior. This is not, if this is our motivating factor, if our motivating factor is to be seen, then that's it. We will be seen. And people who can see clearly will see right through it. So we turn to that motivating factor of what the Course in Miracles describes. It says, I'm here to be truly helpful. I'm here to be truly helpful. I'm here to do the will of He who sent me. Truly helpful. And you know, many times, and this has come up here, we talked about it last week in this idea of self-support. It's important to link the two, because the idea of self-support is this is a privilege. It's a responsibility and a privilege to be self-supporting, to do the things that need to be done by us. But it's also humility to say when we need help, to ask for help, rather than just to charge forward, willy-nilly, just I'm going to do it on my own. And this is, the true fact is that there is no such thing as a self-made person. First of all, I think we were talking something about creation happened somewhere along the line. But more than that, any success that we have in life, even for those who are manipulative, even for those who are dictatorial and force people to their will, they still couldn't accomplish what they wanted to accomplish without the aid that they may have forced. So none of us stands alone. And when we recognize the fact that we don't, that in fact, we're all in this together. We're all in this together. I had a counseling yesterday, and the person was having, and this is a common thing, it doesn't matter, but of course I won't say who it was, but the issue was a conflict in a relationship, and I suggested just say this, just look right at them and say, I'm with you. I'm with you. This is so powerful when we look at someone and let them know, I'm not against you. I am not somewhere else. I am here right now with you. I'm with you. We're in this together. So this attitude of community in general, an attitude of closeness with those that we happen to be with in the moment. This is very important for these ongoing relationships. So right, and just look at how easy it is. How many times, I know we talk about this quite a bit in meetings, but how many times you've been sitting in a meeting or a group gathering, maybe just at dinner with friends, and somebody is speaking, and all of a sudden you realize you can't remember what they said for the last 2 minutes because you were somewhere else. Some of us are better at paying attention than others. But so here is this idea of to be truly helpful means that we have to be present. We have to be present with the people that we are with. We want to be self-supporting. We want to carry our share of the burden, but we want to allow others to help, because when we understand that part of our responsibility is to help others, we also need to understand that part of their responsibility is to help others too. And sometimes we're the ones who needs the help. So we're humble enough to take it, and smart enough to ask for it. I mean, how many times have we just struggled and struggled thinking that perhaps thinking no help was available, or perhaps thinking I don't want anybody to know that I can't do thus and so. So we relax into that idea that, yes, I've got some responsibilities, there's some stuff that I'm supposed to do, but help is available. Help is available, I think I'll take it. Now, of course, the other side of it is, I like to sit on the couch too much. If I see somebody who's close to the item that I desire, I've been known to ask them to bring it to me. I know. You go through these things, and I guess it's fine. It's okay. I guess unless you just continue, you're doing it all day, all day long. I've got my watch though. My watch tells me if I've been sitting for an hour, it says it's time to get up. I think that's a good idea, right? So anyway. So we do what's ours to do, and then this next tradition, which is the 8th tradition, comes in, and what the 8th tradition is talking about is that we don't try to do things that we're not qualified to do. It's simple. That's what it really means simply. That we don't. First of all, we don't separate ourselves into stratus. We don't have different titles in our relationships, and we don't try to do the thing that we're not qualified for. So the first idea is when, so we may be we may have an advanced degree, but in our relationships with people, we probably shouldn't be the professor person. In our relationships with people, when we go home at night if we happen to be high up in an organization at work, we don't go home at night and be the vice president person. We go home at night and be part of the family, right? If we happen to be the person in the relationship who makes the most money, we don't go home as the money bags person. We go home as the person, and this is the thing. And what happens so much is we have roles in our life, and we drag that role into an inappropriate place in a relationship. We drag that sense of really of superiority many times into, and it gives us license to say, well, you know, I contribute more, so I should have more say. Well, the problem is, just to be personal about it, it's not good for us personally to be putting ourselves in that kind of a position. It's great, you know, it's great that we have accomplishments, man, and we should and we've talked about this before. We should have hopes and dreams and goals in our life that have to do with bringing our talents and abilities into the world. We should have those goals, but the accomplishment of those goals does not make us superior to the people around us. We should just be happy. And so as we give this service that we give, we do what we can, and when we're successful, first of all, we are grateful that we were successful, and when accolades come, people are happy and they congratulate us, it's really not seemly to say, oh, it was nothing. It's so simple. It's so simple. Somebody says, oh, you know, you did such a great job. Don't tell them you didn't, or don't tell them it was nothing. Just say thank you. Thank you for noticing. Thank you for saying so. And that's it. Done, right? And then when we mess it up, when we mess the job up, we don't say, oh, well, you know, this and that happened, and oh, you know, all these circumstances went wrong, and all this kind of, or we don't say it was Priscilla's fault. We just say, yeah, you know what, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. I'm going to do my best to not repeat them, right? Simple. If we were wrong, we say simply, I was wrong. I was wrong. And then thinking this idea of thinking, if I did make a mistake and I was wrong, and I'm able to say I was wrong, man, it's so freeing. It's just so freeing. And then to be able to say, start in your mind, but to be able to actually say, what can I do to make up for it? What could I do to make up for it? To take a risk, put that out there. You know what? People are never really, I suppose every once in a while somebody is going to be unreasonable. But most of the time, people are going to say, first of all, most of the time they're going to say, oh, it's okay. But sometimes they may actually say something that we can do, and so that's what we do. We got the willingness, we do it. So on all these principles, like work together, so this idea of I'm on this path. I'm on this path of service. And so, and this is, I think, really important because it has to do with the meditation. That this path that we're on is not a path to become the president of something. It's not a path to become the guru. If that's the focus, it will be singularly unsatisfying in the end. The path is to get to this place. Well, what the Course in Miracles says is that we change our perception step by step till we get to the foot of the bridge where God takes the final step and gathers us back. So the bridge, I'm reading it, I'm saying that it implies that this is the bridge to heaven. And if you're thinking, and this is not, you can think about heaven any way you want to. I'm just going to, since I'm the one that's speaking, I'm going to tell you what I think about it. The kingdom of heaven is just the kingdom of oneness. It is the kingdom of heart. It is that place from which we sprang originally. Before this right here. You know what this? You know this painting is called Big Bang. Okay. So before the Big Bang. It's a theory, I can't prove any of it, all right? It's okay, you don't have to buy into it whatsoever, but I'll just share it. So before the Big Bang, there was something that we can't see and can't figure out. And none of the scientists can see what happened. There's like even a few fractions of a second or something before it happened. They can't, even a few fractions of a second after, they can't see exactly what it was. So before that, I'm going to just postulate this. What if that state was total unity? What if that state was God? And that we, as children of God, got this crazy idea that we could do it on our own. Not only could we do it on our own, we'd like to do it on our own for a minute. And so in that brief fraction of a second, we decided to go it alone. And boom! The Big Bang happened. Now what the Course in Miracles says about that is as soon as we made that decision, God provided the answer. So as soon as we made the decision to go on our own, God provided the answer to go back. So this is what I am saying is the ultimate goal of the path, is to bring ourselves back to the state of mind that we were in before this happened. So, and we do it step by step, moment by moment, staying present. And the answer, really, what this meditation was about, the answer is forgiveness. The path to heaven is through forgiveness. And this is what the mainstream churches have been saying forever, right? Some of them just say, well, Jesus worked it out for us. You know, Jesus is like the inside man. He worked it out for us, and so we're forgiven. But then it's so weird. So many of the different churches have different ideas about how you can fall out of that grace. There's all, first it was just like all you have to do is accept it and it's yours, and then but if you break this rule or that rule, there's all sort of different things. What I want to suggest is that heaven is like good health insurance. Everybody in, nobody out. So where's the problem? The problem is in my mind I keep excluding people. I keep excluding people. I keep stratifying people. I keep saying, oh, these guys are down here and these guys are up here and I'm aspiring to be up here, but boy, I really feel like I'm down here. And all of these crazy thoughts of separation, of isolation, of uniqueness keep me from remembering heaven. So this week, as we're doing these meditations, what I'd like to suggest is that just try to get the stratification out of the mind. Try to work on this idea that we are equal, that we are all of equal value. And we see somebody acting particularly good, and we want to say, oh man, that person, they have really got it going on. Let us remind ourselves. Let us just say, yes, they really, man, wow, just like me. Just say it to yourself, they're just like me. And if you see somebody acting particularly bad, and you say, I don't know what's wrong with that person, they keep doing this over and over again, just like me. That's enough. Thank you.